We are on the cusp of an ETH ETF approval. As you can see in front of you, at least 5 of the potential ETF issuers have submitted their amended forms in the last 24 hours, with Fidelity, Van Eck, Invesco, Galaxy, ARK, 21, and Franklin all submitting via CBOE. This is a super positive sign that we are going to be getting an Ethereum spot ETF, which is a catalyst which has seemingly come out of nowhere. The probability of an ETH ETF approval was as low as 20% just a few days ago. Now, according to many prediction markets, it's as high as 90%, which is obviously a major catalyst for the altcoin market. So in today's video, we're going to discuss what the most optimal way to play the Ethereum ETF trade is from a retail perspective. Should you be buying ETH beta altcoins within the ETH ecosystem? If so, which ones are the most effective? Because I do see a lot of people making the mistake of buying certain coins, which I believe are actually going to underperform over the next couple of weeks. So instead, I'm going to give you 3 of the altcoins which I think are going to outperform in the case of an ETH ETF approval. And I'm also going to talk about what this means for the altcoin market as a whole and give you some insight into the top altcoin sectors that I'm looking at over the next few weeks and months. So if you do enjoy altcoin alpha like this on a daily basis, where I help you navigate the crypto markets, make sure you do click that subscribe button and hit that post notification bell to be early to the latest trends. I always pride myself on this channel of making sure you're early into the new narratives. Those that were watching my videos back in Q4 2023 would know this, as we've hit multiple big trades like the render trade, the PENDLE trade, PEPE even earlier that year, and many, many more. So without further ado, let's get into the video today. So there are 2 signs of optimism now starting to emerge for the ETH ETF. The first one is that the CME ETH futures open interest has been increasing, which is a sign that people are more optimistic of an approval. And the other thing we're seeing is the ETH discount disappearing, which is the premium index that alludes to the fact, once again, that we are going to be seeing an ETH ETF approval. We will know about this on Thursday. That's when we're going to get the first response to Van Eck. So we'll know very soon. Perhaps by the time you're watching this video, we will have an answer, but it will be during the US day, most likely. So still over 40 hours away at the time of recording this video. Looking at ETH BTC, what am I currently seeing in terms of the trend? Well, we did see that super strong reversal off the lows. It was funny because as ETH BTC was bleeding in price more aggressively towards the bottom, traders started getting more and more bearish on Ethereum. I saw a lot of people saying they were swapping their ETH for Solana, and ETH was dead, etc. So I do find it slightly humorous, but also telling that at the time of peak FUD for Ethereum, when it was all over the timeline, was the time when we did see a strong thrust to the upside on ETH BTC. And this was one of the most substantial ETH BTC pumps that we have seen in the last few months, on the 4-hour crossing the 200 EMA region, and it's now coming up to test a major level on the daily at the 5 region. Keep your eye on that, because that was the previous ETH range low on ETH BTC. Overall, with Ethereum being the leader of the altcoins, a strong Ethereum bodes well for the altcoin market, and it is a case, in my opinion, of a rising tide lifting all ships in this market. So that's why we're going to discuss in today's video if the rising tide is triggered by an ETH ETF, which I think it will be if approved, what altcoins are going to rise the highest. That is something that you have to be very careful about, because otherwise you can be caught offside in the wrong narratives, whilst select altcoins in the market end up overperforming. And the number one goal as an altcoin investor is to beat the market. Your goal is to beat Bitcoin performance, because if you can't beat Bitcoin performance, then you may as well sit back and chill and sit in spot Bitcoin. But for those looking for the greater gains in the market, like myself and like probably a lot of you, we have to be a little bit more selective to make sure we're in the strength and we're in the trends that can actually outperform. Looking at the Ethereum chart right here versus the US dollar, another interesting trend is emerging. We did smash through the resistance level at the 33.50 zone. We are now in the range that we broke out of back in March 2022. We had a fake out above range low at the 335 level, and then we ended up breaking down before pivoting nicely off this diagonal structure here, where we are making a series of higher lows, which is obviously good price action for Ethereum. whilst it hasn't been looking so good over the last few months. So this is positive. One thing you do want to see is a convincing clearing of the 4K zone. I believe it's only a matter of time before we do come and test this level. And then I think it would be healthy for Ethereum to retrace back into this trend and keep up this pattern. As soon as you start seeing a breakdown, you can probably invalidate this run, but in my opinion, that would likely be a cause of an ETH ETF rejection. At the time of recording this, that does not look like the likely scenario, however, but we will see in a couple of days' time. And once we do get a definitive response, I will do another video and I'll update you. But today's video is all about being preemptive in the market, because that's what we try and do on this channel. We try and make sure we are best positioned and always prepped for the eventualities of the market. And that's why I'm coming at you with this video, which is more time sensitive. And that's exactly what I've been doing in my Discord as well, not just here on the channel. Like, for example, with PENDLE. When PENDLE started to dip in the face of a lot of FUD, I said, hey guys, this is actually something that is an attractive DCA due to the fact there's a lot of FUD. I posted this at $4.20. We can see the time of posting that post was pretty much the local low for PENDLE. It did bounce and then go a tiny bit lower, but that $4 region was the lowest region. It's now, since then, up 46%, and it did pump 57%, obviously having a major thrust to the upside on the ETH news, as it's one of the strongest ETH DeFi proxies. So PENDLE was a strong one in the Discord. Another one that I posted yesterday that I thought launched way too low was Nine Heroes. This is a new game, which I'm quite bullish on. I'm an early investor in, but I'm actually holding my initial unlock because I believe it did launch slightly lower than expected at a 245 mil FDV. Doesn't have crazy unlocks during the first year, and is backed by Andrew Kang, Delphi, etc. We know how Marvia performed when Kang was shilling it. So I made this point in my Discord. Lo and behold, the next day it did push up into the mid 35-cent zone, giving investors in the group a nice 20% profit. So the whole goal of that group and this channel, of course, this is my mantra, is to make sure you're early to the new opportunities in the market. If you are interested in joining the Mars High Club, it's my exclusive community to give altcoin alpha. We also have an amazing team of analysts which give altcoin setups, analysis, reports, etc. And you can see people in the group have been performing super strongly over the last couple of weeks. Then you can use the link in the description to sign up for the waitlist. I must say, I checked this morning, we were very, very close to filling up the 300 spots. So we are technically closing it on Saturday, but I have a suspicion that the waitlist is going to fill up before Saturday. So this is really a last gasp effort for you to join the group. If you have been considering it, I would suggest doing so today, because I can't guarantee that by the time we close the waitlist on Saturday, there will be spots left. Just giving you a heads up. Of course, you don't have to join. It's your choice if you want to go that extra step in the market. I really do believe in giving you daily value here on YouTube as well. But for those that want that extra experience and a little bit more in-depth stuff, we do have that community, which has been absolutely amazing and something super fun to be a part of. So given the fact that Ethereum is starting to respond positively from a price action perspective, and given the fact that we are on the precipice of a potential ETF approval, what is the best play to prepare for an approval? What are the strongest altcoins in the eventuality that the ETF gets approved? What do I think will perform strongly, and what is the trade amongst all of this? Well, in yesterday's video, I did talk about some of the strongest ETH betas. That was when the news was relatively fresh. In today's video, I want to hone in on 3 in particular, because I talked about the trade in general in that video. I gave you a variety of altcoins and my general thoughts on the approval. I still recommend watching that because I go more in depth on what the ETH ETF means in that video. Today's video is going to be more focused on 3 of my highest conviction plays in particular. Now, before we get into those 3 plays, let's just look at where Total 3 sits. The altcoin market, in response to the Ethereum news, actually did break out of that major flag that I highlighted on my show on Monday. This is obviously a major positive sign because Total 3 was basically chopping in this range. As I pointed out, it was making higher lows, but it was also making lower highs, consolidating and condensing into that bull flag, consolidating and condensing into that flag pattern. Luckily, we did get the breakout to the upside. Consolidation above this level on the daily, in my opinion, is a bullish sign that Total 3 can go up, and this is the altcoin index, and attempt that 780 bill region. From a more macro perspective, and this is something I'm going to look at more on the weekend show in terms of where I think alts are going over the next 6 months, but we'll keep today more time sensitive. You do have the possibility of a breakout here resulting in a test of the previous all-time high, which is 1.1 trillion. A breakout here is your major catalyst for that next move because there's not much overhead resistance when it comes to the altcoin index after a break of this level. But it does have a fair bit of work to get there, and that's pretty much what we're going to talk about today in the catch-up play in the event that it does push higher due to the ETH ETF. With this 11% total 3 move, what altcoins are going to perform the best? Because if total 3 goes up 11, 12, 13, 14%, good alts are going to go up 20, 30, 40%, and the index largely gets bogged down by stablecoins, which are actually a part of this, like USDT, etc., and also the large caps like XRP, DOT, ADA, which just aren't moving, and in my opinion, aren't likely to respond very strongly just due to the fact they're weak and the market just doesn't have a preferential bias towards them right now. So the first thing that is the logical play that comes to mind is, okay, let's long ETH betas. So anything in the ETH ecosystem, whether that be L2s like Matic, Arbitrum, Optimism, IMX, these are the top plays to capitalize, right? Or ETH DeFi like Uni, Swap, etc. Well, actually, I have a slightly different opinion because in the past, the ETH betas have actually slightly underperformed. Now, what we have seen is initially they'll respond well, but typically the ETH beta trade hasn't had that much longevity as a whole. Now, I'm not saying ETH betas aren't going to run on an approval. They probably do outperform in the short term. That's something we discussed in yesterday's video. But historically, they've struggled to sustain a pump. So I don't just want to long any random Ethereum beta like Aave or anything in the ETH ecosystem. I want to be a little bit more selective and intelligent with where I put my conviction bets, because you can't spread out across 10 ETH betas and hope to capture upside. So I have honed in on a few specific plays in the ETH ecosystem under the ETH narrative that I do think will outperform. And that's the point of today's video, to talk about those 3 in more depth. So the first logical thing that comes to mind is front-running the next ETF trade. So we know that when the Bitcoin ETF got approved, ETH started to organically run because there was this narrative that ETH would be the next one to get approved. So it went on a little bit of a rally. It actually pumped past $4,000 because people were starting to preemptively position in Ethereum. Now, what we ended up seeing was the ETH ETF getting faded, but as a trade at the time, it performed super strongly, going on a massive leg to the upside. It first went to $2,600 on that initial pump, and then it pumped all the way to $4,000 before it started to become apparent that we weren't going to get an ETF, and then ETH just started bleeding against the US dollar and subsequently against Bitcoin as well. But this logic holds true. People did start preemptively shifting into Ethereum after the Bitcoin Spot ETF approval. So let's say the ETH ETF gets approved. What happens? Well, in my opinion, there is going to be a little bit of momentum that's going to go into some of the altcoins, which are likely to be approved next. So let's look at CoinGecko to look at what they could be. Will it be BNB? In my opinion, probably not, due to the fact that Binance has been under a lot of scrutiny. Will it be Solana? Well, I don't think this is probable either, because they actually gave exchanges like Coinbase and Robinhood, who had to delist them, a little bit of flack for Solana, calling it a security. So I don't think something under security scrutiny is going to be selected or even considered for an ETF next. Will it be XRP? There is potential here. I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility, although we do know that Ripple had that fight against the SEC. Will it be Toncoin? Probably not. Cardano? Probably not. Probably falls into a similar basket as Sol. So the logical one here in the top 10, I know it sounds out of pocket. In my opinion, it's actually Doge. I think Doge has one of the strongest cases for not being a security due to the fact it's not a staking coin, and due to the fact that it's been around for a long time, it's established, and it also had the CFTC futures Coinbase listing. And the only other 2 coins to have that were Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin. So in my opinion, it's these 3 coins which are in pole position for an ETF next. Now, we don't actually know which ones are going to get an ETF. We're purely talking about the narrative here, because in my opinion, the narrative is more powerful than what actually gets approved. And I do think Doge has this in its favor this time around. The other thing I do like about Doge right now is that it's in a clear uptrend. You have higher lows starting to form. You have a break of the 200 MA on the 4 hourly. You also have a break of this key horizontal level, which has acted as recently a major resistance level back in April multiple times, again in May multiple times, that we're finally starting to consolidate above. Consolidation above here, in my opinion, is a very good sign. And you also obviously have this diagonal trend. As long as that holds intact, we are still in an uptrend. So in my opinion, Doge becomes a decent play. Also considering it's under the breadth of the meme coin narrative too. So it's not just an ETH beta, it's also considered a meme coin. That is one of the plays that I'm looking at. Number 2 is PEPE. Now, this has already been on a massive run. Of course, people that have been watching my videos back in the crypto banter days and following my Twitter for the last year or so would be no strangers to PEPE. This is actually live footage of me saying that I was going to buy PEPE on live stream at a 100 mil market cap just for fun. I can confirm I'm up around a 40x. Actually, now I think today it's like a 50x on those initial buys, considering they were all the way down here, which is absolutely insane to think about. But obviously, I didn't make a clean 50x on this because I've been laddering out over time. I don't believe it's wise after a 10x, 20x, 30x to hold your entire position. So I have been scraping profits off the top, but subsequently PEPE has run to become one of my biggest positions. And this is pretty crazy that I captured this moment during a live stream. And you can go onto my Twitter and search up PEPE Mars Deutscher and watch the clip if you want to watch it. It's pretty insane that I said that I was buying it just for fun on live stream. And we look at it now, that's almost at a 5 bill market cap at that initial call at 100 mil. Absolutely insane. But in the shorter term as an ETH beta trade, not long term. Sorry for tooting my own horn, but look, that was a good trade. You got to give yourself flowers sometimes. I don't call everything in the market exactly correct all the time, but that PEPE trade, that was a pretty good one. But looking at PEPE here, the one thing I'm liking is how it's adhering to price structure. Look at this on the daily, and it's similarly across the 4 hourly. You have these flags that form, or these channels that start to form and create ranges. And it's actually obeyed the support level of these ranges and also the resistance levels of these ranges quite well. So you often see a thrust up, a rejection, and then a breakthrough. A thrust up, a rejection, a breakthrough. A thrust up, maybe a rejection. I don't know where it's going to put in its high. We'll see this on the lower time frames if it starts to look toppy. It doesn't right now, but it may in a couple days. Then probably a rejection that gives you a chance to buy the dip before another breakthrough, in my opinion. Because I think this price action's clean. When you have clean price action, it becomes easy because you can move your stop up and up and up. And I do think PEPE, because it's being viewed as an ETH beta, and WIF's being viewed as like a sol beta, does become one of the stronger ETH trades. I know it sounds crazy because it's not like a native ETH DeFi protocol, but that is really how the market's viewing it at the moment. And all you need to do is scroll through Twitter to observe this. So for that reason, I think just from a mindshare perspective, it does become kind of like an ETH beta. And I think it can outperform during this period too. If you did miss this PEPE run up, right now for another 6 days time, I'm going to be giving away 800,000 PEPE to anybody that signs up to BloFin, which is a non-KYC exchange, using my link in the description. So all you need to do is sign up using that link, deposit $100, and in 6 days time, you're going to receive 800,000 PEPE for free. And actually, the price of PEPE is significantly up since we first launched the campaign. So actually in dollar value, everyone that signed up for this is going to be making more at the end of the campaign period than it was appearing just a few days ago. What you can also do, apart from signing up, is spin the wheel to not only win 800,000, but up to 50 million PEPE, which is quite a lot of PEPE. You can also win 20 million, you might win nothing, you might win 10 million, 8 million, 5 million. It's all luck of the draw. Every $10,000 in volume that you build up, which obviously depends on your trading size, but in my opinion is not a lot if you're on futures, gives you a +1 raffle ticket to enter the lucky wheel, and you can spin this an unlimited amount of times. These aren't mutually exclusive. You don't need to deposit to be able to spin the lucky wheel, but obviously if you're going to build up futures volume, you probably need some money in the exchange, so you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone by depositing and trading and spinning the wheel. Or you can just deposit and get your free 800,000 PEPE. It's up to you. The link is in the description below, and all the terms for that is in the description below. And obviously the beauty of it is the fact that it's non-KYC. So that is obviously going to help a lot of you. So what is the third play that I'm looking at in terms of an ETH beta? Well, it's not Arbitrum because it's kind of still looking weak even though it pumped. It's not Lido. It's actually ENA. And ENA, in my opinion, is not a pure ETH beta. This is a little bit more of an extended one later down the track. But I do think if the ETH ETF is approved and altcoins start to catch a positive bid off the back of that, which I believe would be the case in the event of an approval, then that would likely lead to increased greed in the market. Altcoins may make that thrust up to that major resistance level that I pointed out on Total 3. And in that scenario, funding rates are going to increase because funding rates are basically a reflection of the sentiment in the market. How many traders are positioning long versus short? When funding is extremely green, so extremely positive, this means people are taking on more risk. What protocol benefits the most from that? Well, it's actually Athena, ENA, due to its mechanism and the flywheel that's in place, and it can work positively or negatively. The higher the funding, the better it is for the protocol. So in an altcoin rally, I do expect ENA to outperform. It has been in a downtrend. I'm looking to see, because it has started signaling a reversal on the 4 hourly. I'm looking to see how it responds to this trend. We are at a major support level. If we bounce here and cross back above this major resistance, as well as the 200 MA on the 4 hourly, that would be amazing price action, in my opinion, for another leg to the upside where it can obviously cross this $1 level. ENA is one that I'm becoming more interested building a position in, as I'm actually getting increasingly bullish on this one for the bull run. It's kind of a similar theory to Rune. If you believe the market is going to be higher later in the year, obviously funding is going to increase. It becomes a leverage bet on the market in a way. Without you having to pay funding, by holding a leverage position, you can hold these riskier altcoin bets like Rune, ENA, meme coins, etc. And this definitely fits the bill. So I do like it for that reason. The other interesting thing is, although it's a new coin, a lot of the unlocks are not happening until 2025. You guys know that I'm a massive proponent of looking into the tokenomics before you invest because of the propensity of a lot of these new launches to be down only. But core contributors, where 30% of the tokens are geared towards, don't get unlocked until the 2nd of April 2025, as you can see here, if of course that is UK/Australian/European date. If that's an American date, then it's the 4th of Feb, but I'm not sure. It's one of those dates. Investors that have 25% of the token supply also got unlocked on the same date, and that vesting's for 3 years until 2028. The airdrop was 5%, that's already unlocked, so the sell pressure is mostly out, and then untracked is probably like ecosystem development, etc. But that also includes the foundation. Foundation is obviously like ecosystem grants and development, and some of that, falls into some of the private rounds, etc. However, by and large, not many unlocks until 2025, which I do like for ENA as well. So those are 3 of the plays which I believe are the strongest ETH betas. You also have BCH, you also have Litecoin. They could potentially catch a bid on the whole next ETF narrative, but I don't think they're as hot in the market as those few. And then of course you also have the ETH DeFi stuff. I'm just not as bullish on it. So that is my take on the betas. Now, if we do see altcoins catch a bid, because ETH is the leader of the alts, right? So if ETH performs, a lot of other sectors are probably going to perform. What is best positioned over the coming weeks and months to run the hardest? Because as I said, you always got to be in the strength. Let me give you a few narratives right now. AI, in my opinion, is still exhibiting some of the most strength in the market. Gaming isn't right now. Meme coins actually aren't right now. Apart from PEPE, the rest aren't really. AI is actually still the outlier in the market. Nvidia has its earnings, of course, at the day of recording. I don't think this is a reason to be bullish or bearish necessarily, because we do have many upcoming catalysts, in my opinion, which are actually more important. The first one is ChatGPT 5, which is coming in a couple months' time by all reports. ChatGPT 4, apparently, I haven't experimented with it, but the 4.0 or the 4.0 version that was just announced is apparently absolutely insane. You can build games with it, you can build AI agents with it, you can copy and let it do technical analysis. So my job will be going out the window soon, according to this. It can solve complex math, etc. It's insane. And this is the really unique thing about the AI narrative. Every single time there is a new development, an update like this, ChatGPT 5 is going to be an even bigger upgrade. It gets the AI narrative attention and mindshare online, in the mainstream media, in social media, and that causes this very fast-paced cyclical nature of the AI narrative. It'll run, it'll cool down, it'll run, it'll cool down, it'll run. Unlike gaming, which maybe runs once a cycle, meme coins, maybe they run a few times a cycle. AI just keeps having these periods of outperformance, which is why it's a little bit easier, in my opinion, to trade than other narratives, because major lulls, you can kind of buy in knowing that on the next pump, you're probably going to have an exit there. But I do believe over the next few months, it'll continue to outperform due to some of these major announcements that are coming. The Apple conference is coming soon, where it could announce its AI strategy, ChatGPT 5, many more developments from Microsoft, etc. And obviously Nvidia earnings today, which I don't think is even the most important one, unless they significantly outperform. In that case, I think AI tokens do well. If it underperforms, I don't think that'll really affect the AI tokens that much. So what are some that I'm looking at? I'll keep this relatively brief because I want to focus on 2. The first one's Render, because it's the leader of the trend, and TA-wise, it is the strongest one. So you have your lows set in here, your higher lows, a series of consolidation, which actually ended up being a higher low, and now a break of the major resistance level at the $10 region. We did see it wick up and then pull back down, but this is still bullish price action in my opinion. If you go onto the 4 hourly, you can see as well, it is prepping for this next leg to go and attempt that mid 12 region. I'm still in my render long. I did a video at $8.50 a couple of weeks ago on my channel. This was, which video was this when I said I was buying a render at $8.50? I think it was this AI pump imminent 2 weeks ago. AI altcoins are about to rally hard. Either this one or no, I think it was this video where I said I was buying render. As you can see, it's on the thumbnail there. That was around $8.50 a couple of weeks ago. Going forward to today, obviously, we're all up on those trades, and I'm still in my long here. I've been taking profits along the way, but I still think it can continue to perform well. That's one. The second one is one I just took a position in. So this is fresh. I have been researching this for weeks, but I finally decided this morning to take a position in PEPECOIN. You might be thinking, Miles, this isn't an AI coin, this is a meme coin. Well, I'm not talking about the PEPECOIN that we're doing the BloFin campaign with. That's a separate PEPECOIN. I'm talking about the OG PEPECOIN, which was actually released in 2016, before the new Pepe meme coin. It's the original coin with its own L1 that was recently migrated to Ethereum that is synergistic with, in my opinion, one of the most exciting AI projects in the space, which is BASEDAI. Now, it took a while for me to wrap my head around this, and that's why it took so many weeks to research and make a decision as to whether to invest. I'm going to do a full breakdown of this later, but I wanted to give you the alpha in today's video so you can start researching as well. It's basically like a Tau competitor. They're running a zero-knowledge large language model, which is a ZK-LLM, which is basically an AI ecosystem privacy play. So it's a decentralized machine learning AI network. You can think of it like a Tau competitor, and the devs have been relentlessly shipping lately. But why did I buy PEPECOIN instead of BASEDAI when BASEDAI is also the governance coin of the based ecosystem? Well, the reason why I decided to buy PEPECOIN is because of this. Every time you mint a brain, you burn PEPECOIN. So the Genesis brain was minted by burning 1,000 PEPECOIN. The requirement will increase to 200 PEPECOIN for every new mint. So as the network grows, Pepe is burnt. So not only is this a meme play, not only does it kind of run with the memes and the ETH betas, etc., it also runs with the AI narrative, because as the base ecosystem grows, more Pepe is burnt. I'll get more into the math behind that flywheel in a future video because I don't want to over convolute this, but I honestly found it so interesting researching this stuff, and that's why I took a PEPECOIN position recently. If all of the 1,024 brains are activated, the PEPECOIN supply would be reduced by over 76%. And this does become a powerful narrative. So I recently added this to my AI portfolio. Obviously, some of the other AI coins that I also hold are things like AOS. I think NIA's interesting as an L1 AI play. Arweave is launching its supercomputer and moving into the AI realm a bit more. Those are some of the larger caps. Pepe based AI sitting at a slightly lower market cap that I added. But definitely Render from a trading perspective is one not to fade, especially into this Apple announcement, since Render is the only AI coin to have an Apple partnership. So I'm looking at narratives like AI to outperform if the market continues to run. I'm always on the lookout for the outperformers, but I believe in today's video, I gave you some of the coins. So Doge, Pepe, Athena, and then Render and BASEDAI to cover the AI narrative that I think if this Ethereum ETF is approved, these ones could outperform versus some of the other coins in the market. Always got to try and, stay a step ahead here and try and be outperforming at all times in terms of your portfolio positioning. If you do want to trade any of these coins, but also win 800,000 Pepe or potentially 50 million when you spin the lucky wheel, use the link in the description below, sign up for BloFin, and it's no KYC, which is amazing, and you can win that Pepe. And if you are interested to join my exclusive Discord community, the waitlist is shutting in a few days and there aren't many spots left. There's also a link in the description to that. I will see you in the next show. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Peace out.